So a zero of a function is where it crosses the x-axis, and a polynomial function of degree n can have at most n real zeros. So looking at the first one, my degree is the highest power, so it's 3. And then I'm going to do a sketch here. So it crosses at -2, 1, and 4. Don't worry about the max and min right now. So my zeros are where it crosses the x-axis. So if you notice on Desmos, it is crossing at -2, 1, and 4. And then factored form is always x minus your factor. So x minus -2, which is positive, x minus 1, x minus 4. So for the next one, it crossed at 3. I graphed it in Desmos before this. And 5. 3 and 5. So that means my factors would be x minus 3 and x minus 5. Because it's always x minus where it crosses your x-axis. So when it's in factored form, your zeros are what's inside the parentheses, but you want to take the opposite. So my zeros for number 1 would be 3, 1, and -10. And then the degree of the polynomial is by adding up all the powers. So this has an assumed power of 1, 1, and 2. So 1, 1 plus 2 is 4. For the next one, the zeros would be 15, 1, and -6. And then I have 3, 1, and 2, so then my degree would be 6. So multiplicity is the exponent of the factor. So if the exponent of the factor is odd, that is where your graph is going to cross. If the exponent is even, it's going to touch. And this will make more sense once we do the next problem. So looking at this example, if I solve it, I get x equals 0 and x equals +3. The multiplicity is the exponent. So the exponent to the x is 1, and then the exponent to the 3 is 2. If it's odd, it's going to cross. If it's even, it's going to touch. We're going to skip writing it in standard form, so put a, oops, that looks like our infinity sign. It doesn't mean to be infinity, just put an x there. So degree of the polynomial would be 1 plus 2, so that's 3. The leading coefficient is going to be positive because everything, the x and x are both positive. So if my degree is odd and my leading coefficient is positive, that means I'm going to be going down and then up. So use your rules. So here's my zeros, here's my multiplicities, and then here's my end behavior. So then we're going to graph it without using a calculator. So when graphing it without using a calculator, plot your zeros. So I cross at 0 and then also at 1, 2, 3. And then how I know how to connect them. Look at your end behavior. So that says I start down. So that means I'm going to start with my arrow going down. Then at 1 or at 0, I say that it's going to cross. I don't care how high you go right now. And then I got to come back down to do this other 0, but at 3 it says it's just going to touch. So I'm just going to touch and then go back up. So I start down because of my end behavior. I cross because of my multiplicity. I touch, and then I go back up. So for the next one, my zeros are -7, -1/2, and 4. The multiplicity of 7 is 2. Multiplicity of -1/2 is 1. And the multiplicity of 4 is 3. So I touch at even and cross at odds. We're not writing it in standard form, so X that out. The degree of my polynomial is adding up all the multiplicities. So 2 plus 3 plus 1 is 6. My leading coefficient is going to be positive because all my front numbers are positive. So even and positive gives me up and up. So plot your zeros. So -7, 1, 2, 3, 7. -1/2, do your best. And then 4. Okay. So looking at my end behavior to the left, I'm starting up. So up to this. Well, at -7, I'm just touching. So I'm going to touch and go back up. Then at -1/2, I go up and I come back down. It doesn't matter how high this hump is because I don't know. At -1/2, I cross. Go down as far as you want. Come back up at 4, I cross. And come back up. So you got to connect these dots by following touch cross and making sure your end behavior is right. So I started up, I touch, I cross and cross, and then I end going back up. All right, last one. My zeros are 0, 4, and -2. 0 has a power of 2. 4 has a power of 1 and 1. So evens, they touch, and then odds, they cross. We're not writing in standard form. So the degree is 4. My leading coefficient is positive. So that means I'm going up and up. I'm going to graph my zeros. So 0, -2, and 4. So starting left, I'm going up. So I start up. At -2, I cross. Oops, I'm sorry, my pen's off. So I'm up. At -2, I cross. At 0, I touch. And then at 4, I cross. And then the last problem, it says a polynomial function has a 0 of -6, multiplicity of 2. So a 0 of 6 would be x plus 6, multiplicity of 2 is the power. A 0 at 2, so that'd be x minus 2, multiplicity of 1. So then this is my polynomial, and then the degree of the polynomial is by adding the multiplicities together, so the degree would be 3.